I am so incredibly excited. Today we have Crush from Black Flamingo Collective in Bethesda, Maryland. We have been trying to get this interview going for months, I think, and so we are finally here today. If you don't know who he is and you live under a rock, he has been tattooing for 11 professionally, he said, and 14 years in total. He is neo-traditional. How did you describe it?
I would say it's more a mix between new school and neo traditional, but primarily new school, and then bits of neo trad in there, as well as like some graffiti elements.
Lots of anime. Are we
Anime.
the elephant in the room?
An abundance of anime.
Yeah. Awesome tattooer. And while his tattoos are super cool, it's, you know, that's something that I think everybody talks to you about. So I was interested in talking with you because you are this highly ambitious, like super driven person. I see you out there just like pushing yourself and you're always challenging yourself and going for the next big thing. And it's so inspiring to me. And I was like, I need to peek into this dude's brain. I want to hear more. So maybe I'm perceiving this wrong, but did you just like come out fucking swinging in the last year? I feel like just I've been following you, I think, for maybe 2, 3 years, and the last year I've just seen you fucking take off, and your mind. It's almost like you're shifting your focus to more of this mindset and motivation. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. What caused the shift? And like people don't just like come out of the womb with this like type of grit that you have. And I think that did something happen to like spark this or like cause you to take this turn and like really focus in on this stuff?
Yeah. I, first of all, thank you for having me on the cast. I'm really excited. And so to answer your question, I just got tired of not doing the things that my mind knows I could be doing, but at the same time, my mind tells me I'm not good enough to do. So then I stopped listening to the negative part of that aspect. And I said, okay, well, what are the things that I want to do and make me uncomfortable doing? And why do they make me uncomfortable? And when I started figuring out the answers to why it was making me uncomfortable, what was holding me back, then I started to understand myself as a person a lot better. And I started looking at my weaknesses instead of focusing on my strengths before. And I realized that in my weaknesses, there was a lot of strength that I could put forward. And when I started putting them forward, it was a reminder to myself to keep myself accountable. And then by default, it started helping other people, So I started just speaking my mind. And I said, I need to do harder things. I need to just be me and, represent myself as me. But I can't fully represent myself as me if I'm not doing the things that I want to do. Like, that isn't me. The me is the person that wants to do these things. And maybe I was just holding back before. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do these things. I started doing them. And I started getting feedback from other people about how much they appreciated it, or how much they needed to hear that, or how much it impacted their day, their life, whatever. I've had a business owner, and I'll never forget this. This happened recently. I had a business owner literally change the dynamic of his business out of some advice that I gave him on, not even advice, just an opinion on what I would do in his place to market himself better and sell more, whatever it is. And I saw him at a show in Chicago, and he thanked me, and his wife was like, oh my God, like, you have no idea how much he really took your words to heart, and it made such a big difference in the business. And that meant everything to me. And they're like just the sweetest couple ever. And that impacted me so much. So just getting the gratification from that is so much fuel for me to just want to keep going and doing this.
Nice. Any chance you're gonna let us in on what that secret is? What was this thing the advice that you gave him?
So the advice was the secret wasn't anything in particular other than maybe you should diversify what you're doing. So instead of just, you know, selling A, B, and C, you should try to cater to the other crowds like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And this doesn't apply to all businesses because some businesses are more niche related. But because his business is already so niche, I feel like if he expanded the availability in the niche to other crowds, like it would get him more business. And sure enough, he did. And maybe it wasn't even about him diversifying. Maybe he just needed something new to bring to the table to excite him in the business again.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what made all the difference.
Yeah. I remember seeing one of your posts. You said it was like, point of view, no more excuses. Stay fit, catch flights, meet great people. And I was just like, damn, that's so fucking cool. And then you can kind of see like this progression of like, it was like your recap of the year. And it's just like your progression of the year where you're like traveling and you're doing all these things. And it was just really like, I loved that post. It was really inspiring to me. And I think that was the moment I was like, yeah, like this dude's going to be on the podcast. But I think that mindset really holds people back in general in the industry. Artists that are like beginning their careers, they're like wanting more information about how to execute a good tattoo and how to, get better with their technical skills. And they've put all of this focus into like designing and, like actual tattoo work, when I think that something that's really overlooked is the mindset behind it, because you can't have one without the other. You're not going to get to this, whatever the goal is for you, if you don't have the mindset to get you there. And I think that they don't spend enough time training their minds and learning how to be driven and ambitious, because you aren't just like born with this work ethic and it doesn't come naturally. But I saw this post and you said, I'm going to do these things, and then you fucking did it. And then you're out there like traveling all over the place and doing conventions, and you just did a seminar, and it's just really cool. I see you talk a lot about mental toughness, which is something that I'm like right there with you. Like that's been a struggle for me, and something that I consistently work on, day in, day out. And I know you did 75 hard too, correct? Yeah. So I'm like in the thick of it right now on day 30.
Make of the times I failed it I failed it about 4 or 5 times before I achieved it.
Oh yeah. I don't even know how many times I fail. That's a lot. But let's talk about that a little bit. Like how did that, I know for me, it impacted my life in so many ways, just doing, because it took me 267 days to get 75 days. And the other side of that, coming out of that, finishing it, the what I gained from it just changed everything for me. I think that's really where my career and everything in my life really like pivoted. Can you talk about that a little bit? Did you have the same kind of effect with that?
Yeah. So I'm going to circle back to that. And I want to just go into when you said, and you noticed that post that I said, catch more flights and meet good people and all that stuff. That was my breaking point. So a little before that. So, because obviously I had, all the clips and content. So I got out of this relationship in late 2023, I believe. And I learned a lot from that relationship, and I learned that I needed to change. I learned that I wasn't enough of a man, or at least not enough to the standard that I would like to be perceived in, or at least just internally feel like I can say, I am this man. And that year was very rough for me, but at the same time, it was so enlightening, because I destroyed so much of the person who I was for the better, because I said, if I continue to be this person, sure, I could still be successful. Sure, I could still have a relationship. Sure, I could still do this and that, right? But what if I wanted to improve the quality? Because I was not happy with the quality of life that I was living. Not that it was a bad quality life, but internally with myself as a person and as a man, I was not very proud of it. I was proud of some things, but I wasn't overall proud of who I was internally, you know? There's a lot of people that could tell you, oh, Crush, what are you talking about? Like, you're such a great dude and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you don't know what's going on inside. And you don't know the kind of decisions I make when you're out there. Like, and I keep shit real. Like, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've been a piece of shit. I've been a liar. I've been all those fucking things. And I finally decided, I was like, I need to make a difference. I need to make a change. And it's not for anybody but me. Like, I'm tired of being this person. I was not happy with myself. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I did not like what I saw. And it wasn't just physical. It was what I felt internally.
I feel that so hard. Yeah, I get that. You get, you know, you hope that everyone gets to the point where they become self-aware and they can like check in on themselves and like really, you know, take accountability for who they are and their actions. So that's awesome that you got to that point.
Well, just imagine being self-aware, but still deciding to be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. Been there.
You know what I mean? So that's when I was like, okay, this year I'm gonna make a change, and I don't necessarily know how I'm gonna make that change. I just know that I need to change. So I took some time off for myself. I remember I took about like 2 weeks. I moved my appointments around, and all I did, I kid you not, I looked psychotic because I like shaved my head, and I was walking around the neighborhood every single day, shirtless. You know, like for workout reasons, whatever, not just because I'm a psychopath. It's just that bullshit that wander around the neighborhood. No, but I would walk anywhere between 9 to 14 miles a day in the scorching hot Florida Kissimmee sun.
Ew, gross.
And I would have a cigar. I was smoking like 6 cigars a day.
Oh my God.
Like not like little cigarillos or anything, like real cigars.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I would just have my headphones on. And I would just be listening to podcasts or audiobooks, and I would walk for 9 to 14 hours a day, every single day for about like 2 weeks until, and it was, I was so numb at the time, you know, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was going on. I just know that it was better to do that than resort to what I used to do before, which would be substance abuse and women. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm not going to sleep with anyone. I'm not going to drink, not going to do drugs, not going to do anything. I'm literally, I don't know what I'm going to do.
And I just started walking.
But I know that, I mean, probably the unhealthiest thing I did, arguably, is, you know, the cigars. I was smoking 6 cigars a day. So I guess in that sense, it wasn't like the healthiest thing, but I was walking 9 to 14 miles.
Yeah.
And I was listening to books and listening to podcasts about, you know, just like mindset things and, winning and staying optimistic through hard times and just things like that. I did that. And through those 2 weeks, it bled into then later 2 months of being consistent with the thing. And then later 6 months being consistent with the things. And then 8 months being consistent with the things. And before I knew it, I had refrained from doing the things that were so hard for me to do. Like in the past, it was extremely difficult for me to go even a day without sleeping with someone when I was single. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So to think that I could go 2 weeks was insane to me at the time. And it was extremely difficult. But then I was like, man, it's been a month. Oh my God. Like maybe I should break it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to break it. And then 3 months went by and I hadn't slept with anyone and then I'm like, it's like, can I've been good. Come on. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to go 6 months. We're going to double this. And then I will do it. And by the time I got a little after the 3rd month, I literally stopped thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like it didn't even come to mind. And I say that not because like, I'm sure some people wouldn't understand, like, why would you even do that to yourself? The problem is if you understand what it's like to be an addict, you know what kind of problems that brings. Mm-hmm. So if you're not an addict, you're probably like, why do you need to do that? Well, you don't get it. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I'm not an alcoholic, I can have a drink whenever I want. However, give an alcoholic right now that's been sober a drink and see what kind of damage that does to her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it all started. And to go back and answer what I promised to circle back around, 75 Hard was a major, major, major play in the turnaround of the project of bettering myself as a man, overall human, and artist, because it kept me from doing things that I wanted to do, as opposed to not being able to focus on the things that I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And since it didn't give me a choice, and by the way, if you're going to do 75 Hard, the only way it's going to work is if you respect it and you prioritize it. Like, to defeat, or not to defeat, but to excel and achieve 75 Hard, you have to respect it and you have to prioritize it. Literally, your life has to be around 75 Hard, not 75 Hard around your life. It has to become your life for the time being, for you to achieve it. And you have to be honest. You have to be like, you have to have integrity. There were times where I was like, I like failed it, and I'm like, I just didn't take the photo. And then I'm like, no, that's what the old me would have done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that person anymore. So yes, and you know what? All the times that I failed, minus the very last time I failed, it was all because of the progress photo.
Really?
And I still took accountability for something so small. And I remember telling my friends that would ask me, oh, how's 75 Hard going? I'd be like, oh man, I failed a week ago, so I had to restart. How'd you fail? I forgot to take the progress photo.
Yeah, because you wake up in the morning and do you use the app?
Yes.
And he's like fucking looking at you like, did you fail? And you're like, oh no, Andy.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I I failed myself 3 times because it was midnight and I still had to eat like 2 meals. And I was like, fuck, I failed again. My friend was like, it's not midnight. It's when you go to bed. I was like, you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So I like failed myself. I probably did like a month and a half, failed twice in that month and a half span. And I was like, I could have kept going. But every time I failed, I immediately the next day just started right back up. You know, I didn't take a break in between because it was important to me. But yeah. And you can't. The first time through, I was like, there's no fucking way. These people that say that they did it in one shot are fucking liars. There's no way. Like, because you have to learn that lesson of like time management and prioritization. And like, I cannot imagine, unless you have nothing else to do except work out and eat or whatever. I just can't imagine a world where the first time someone does it, they just get right the first time and don't fail.
I thought about that, and I agree with that for the most part, until I figured what it would be like if you had done something prior to 75 Hard that was very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're already used to having discipline in things,
Yeah.
75 Hard actually wouldn't be as difficult as you think.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you think about this, if you finish 75 Hard, right, the person that you become once you achieve 75 Hard, or defeat it, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's defeated. You're right. That's the right word.
Doing 75 Hard. But after you beat 75 Hard, don't you feel like you could beat 75 Hard again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
yeah, and it is.
but if you've never done it before, wouldn't it be more difficult?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think the only way to really do that, like you said, is like maybe if you have that much level of time on your hands. But for me, the biggest thing, and the only way that I know if someone is lying about, and obviously you'll never really know for sure, right? You could be like 95% sure that they really did do it the very first time flawlessly without actually failing, and only they would know that, is if that person had prior achievements in discipline.
Yeah.
So when, I've had a couple guys that told me, yeah, I beat it in my first try, and I look at who they are as a person, I'm like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I believe
that's true. Yeah. And this time, this is my, I mean, I don't know how many times I've done it, but this is my second, second try, I mean, like I did that all like in 1 year. I just did it over and over again. So this is my second time like going through it, and I'm on day 30 and I'm fine. I mean, I'm not fine, but I'm fine. Yeah. Like yesterday was close one. I almost didn't make it, but I'm out there walking and at like fucking 10 o'clock at night in the dark in the cemetery. And I'm like, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, but when you complete it, like you feel like you can do anything. You come out the other side and you're just like, fuck, man. Like if I put this kind of effort into anything that I want to do, or anything I want to achieve, like why wouldn't I achieve those things? Why wouldn't I be able to get those things that I want? So for me, it was super, super life changing, especially for my business and, tattooing and just in general, just everything that I wanted in life. I'm like, okay, now I know, like, if I just prioritize and like take baby steps, like you said, like you started with 2 weeks, and then you went on to like 3 weeks and a month and 2 months, and you're taking this goal where you want to take this break and you want to separate yourself and you want to change something, but you're breaking it down into like every single day, like what am I going to do today to get to that goal.
Yeah.
Something that I started doing I would say over the last year or two, is I challenge myself every day to do something difficult, something that intimidates me or is scary in some way or is new to me. And the places that this has taken me and the things, like I have a podcast now because one day I was like, that's scary. Let me do that. I'm just going to jump in. And I think that it seems just, I don't know for sure, but like from my perspective, you seem like that kind of person that you just like are just taking those opportunities and just jumping at these different, traveling all over, doing the podcast, doing the seminar and stuff. Like you seem like that type of person as well, where you're just going to go, straight towards the scary thing that, might intimidate someone else.
Yeah. It intimidates me, and I still do it anyway. So I want people to be able to relate to me, not because I want it from me, not because I'm like, please relate to me. Please relate to me. I want to be cool and I want to be heard. Like, no, I need other people to understand that I wake up every single day with the voice in my head saying, you're not good enough. You're a piece of shit. You've done a lot of bad things in your life. Who do you think you are to go and talk and try to inspire other people and try to teach other people? And it's literally because I was a piece of shit.
Right.
I lied. I did so many horrible things. It's because of that I feel more empowered to be able to come out and say, dude, what is your excuse? Because I have every excuse to not be doing this. What's your excuse? Why? What is it? Tell me, because I suffered from insecurity. I didn't want to be on camera. I'm like not the most handsome guy in the world. I don't know how to speak very well. And people were like, "Oh, you're such a great speaker." I just recently started getting those compliments, but guess why? Because I started reading more, because I started listening to more podcasts. So it's like you could find every single excuse and it's still not good enough, because like everybody almost always starts off the same. Like everybody has something, a voice in them in whatever way is telling them you are not good enough. So my point is, like, I want people to be able to relate, because like, I don't know who else you could relate more to than me in terms of like just feeling like you're not good enough, feeling worthless, feeling like you're a piece of shit. Like you messed up so many times in your life. Like I've messed up so many relationships. I've burned so many bridges. I've gone broke plenty of times. I've been homeless. I've been in jail. I've like, you name it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So me deciding to change is like, dude, if I did all that, why can't you?
Yeah.
Like, why can't you? You know what I mean? I mean, unless, I mean, I guess my only exceptions is if you're, and not to make this dark, if anything, you just clip this out. But like, if you rape someone or molested children, I don't fuck with you. Like, for me, you could just die.
Right.
Like, or just don't exist, or just them, you can just fuck off.
Right.
You know what I mean? But aside from that, it's like, you could come back from a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the world is actually a lot more forgiving than you think. And especially when they see that you are trying to be better. You're always going to have some people that are like, oh, he's a piece of shit. He'll always be a piece of shit. But that's okay. Like, you're never going to make everybody happy. And like, the sooner you start to realize that even when you start doing new things like I am now, I don't get the same support from people who I thought were my friends that I used to get before I started like posting inspirational things every day.
Yeah.
I don't get the same level of support that I used to. I notice it in the comments.
Mhm.
Like, go look at my comments from the year before. Look at my comments on my reels.
Yeah.
They're like non-existent. So why? And those people are still in my feed. So why am I not getting that kind of support that I was from the people before? Why aren't they happy for me?
Because you're outgrowing them.
Well, it's not even just a matter of outgrowing. It's like, I think a lot of it is just their insecurity coming out, because perhaps a lot of people want to do the things that we're doing. A lot of people want to be able to voice their opinions. Like, think about it. Who doesn't want to voice their opinion? Everybody has an opinion. Literally everyone has an opinion. And who doesn't actually want to voice it? It's just a matter of like, well, I don't feel like my opinion matters enough. So if my opinion doesn't matter enough, yours shouldn't either. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I heard this. It was from either Chris Williamson or Alex Hormozy. And he said, just remember, when your friends tell you you've changed, it's because they don't know how to say you've grown.
Right. You're supposed to change. I was just talking about this yesterday. You're supposed to change. If I was the same person I was in high school, like, someone please fucking come help me. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to just stay the same. And I used to get so offended when people would say that. Like, you're not the same person. I don't even know who you are anymore. Good. Yes.
Thank God.
Really. Yeah. But they say that you're always, like, you're positioned to help the person that you once were. Yeah. And I think that I'm in the same boat. You know, I do this because someone helped me. You know, that person probably has no idea who I am, yeah. You know, but someone helped me and helped me turn my life around and taught me things that I needed to learn and was too stubborn to learn. And I want to be that for somebody else, yep. You know, and I feel like you're doing the same thing. You're trying to pay that forward and help somebody who was in the same position that you used to be in. Yep. And I think that's admirable. And if anyone has shit to say about it, like, fuck them. It's not for them, you know? Yep. So you're a busy guy. You're all over the place, constantly traveling. Aren't you leaving soon? Your schedule changed, you said. So this has to like take its toll on you, right? Like, it has to be stressful and come with its own set of challenges. How do you manage your stress with your time and all the events and stuff that you're doing?
Did you see what I posted yesterday about stress?
No, that's funny.
So in my channel, I posted something like, I don't remember it word for word, because this is just, I'll go on these little tangents by myself and I'll write in my notes. Yeah. And I'll gather my thoughts like I sent you earlier. I sent you just a bunch of random stuff, but essentially people want to manage or eliminate stress from their lives. And managing could be the closest thing to what you're doing if you want to succeed. But I have a hot take on that, because newsflash for everybody watching, you can get rid of stress. That's like saying you can get rid of hunger, right? You can get rid of hunger. You can numb it. You know, you can have a snack and now you're slightly fulfilled. You can eat some food and be full and whatever, but you can get rid of hunger. It's just something that happens every single day. And stress, whether it happens every single day or not, the fact is it is inevitable. And if it doesn't happen today, it might happen tomorrow or the next day or the next week or the month. But I've never met any single person who is trying to be successful that didn't have stress presented to them every single day. Mm-hmm. I don't, because in my opinion, if you don't have stress on a daily basis, you're not doing enough.
Yeah, not trying hard enough. Yep.
That's okay if that's where you want to stay. Like, if you want to live a very comfortable life, or your definition of comfortable is not having stress, then that's the definition of what a not successful life is to me.
Right.
And I know it's different for everybody, but I welcome stress. Like, if I'm not stressed, I might be happy momentarily, And then I realize, why am I not? I've literally like found myself, especially when I started my new relationship and I was like happy, especially like the first 2 weeks, you're like in love and you're like, oh my God. And then I catch myself and I'm like, I'm not stressed. Why the fuck am I not stressed? What what am I doing? And then I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this and I'm not going here and I'm not going there and I'm not doing business with this guy and I'm not trying to like compete and I'm not trying to do this. Like, okay, cool. And then I instantly, in those moments, start making plans and I start stressing myself out.
Right.
I literally start beginning to make plans and I'm like, hey man, let's do this convention. Oh, bro, but it's so short notice. I know we can do it. Boom, stress. Hey, bro, I'm thinking about doing this show. Do you think you can mail me this product because I want to do a giveaway? Boom, more stress. And then I go on Instagram. Hey guys, I'm gonna be doing this show, and then at this show, I want to try to do this. Boom, more stress. Expectations, expectations, expectations. And nobody knows because all they do is they read, oh, cool, Crush is gonna do the show. They don't know what it took or what it's going to take for me to go do that show. Because now I got to fly here, go do a guest spot here. Maybe I'm low on funds and I needed to make more funds. So now I got to go do this thing and tattoo for more days in a row because I'm terrible at managing money. So then I can make the funds to go here. And then once I'm there, the airport maybe canceled my flight and I stress, fucking stress. And the reason why I'm so okay with that is because I've learned how to be okay being stressed. I used to be bothered by being stressed. I was not the same person I was when I was stressed. I would get grumpy. I'd be in a bad mood. I wouldn't want to talk to people. Now you just don't know when I'm fucking stressed. I'm stressed the fuck out right now. Right now I'm stressed. And yet I'm here smiling, being optimistic. I took time out of my schedule to come here and do this. Right? So
Do you think about we're maybe calling it stress and really it's pressure? Because that pressure, I'm the same way. I thrive in chaos. I need shit going on at all times. And if I start to feel like I'm too relaxed, I have to put more shit on my plate. That's just how I am naturally. But for me, I think, I work well under pressure. I do my best work under pressure and I have to feel that pressure at all times. And so maybe there's a line where it's not stress, it's pressure. And in that pressure is what is pushing us forward and pushing us to do better and be better and achieve more. And I feel like the word stress gives it such a negative, outlook, but I don't see it as negative all the time. So maybe we're just labeling it wrong. I don't know.
could be, could be. I like to label it as stress because I generally feel stress.
Yeah.
Like it is stressful because when I talk to anybody about what I'm doing, they're just like, dude, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, like you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do it in your own way if you want to even do it anyway. But just know that if you don't create stress, it means you're not doing enough. Like work and achieving things is not supposed to be satisfying. It's only satisfying when you get the carrot.
Mm-hmm.
Carrot, stick, carrot, stick, carrot, stick. But the carrot doesn't last. And nobody gives a fuck when you achieve anything. No one.
Including yourself, usually.
Including yourself. Like, yeah, you'd be proud of yourself in the beginning when you start achieving things and you're like, oh, wow, I did that. Like, that is what develops your confidence. So it is important to realize and be aware of your wins. Like, you're like, okay, I did that. Boom. Validation for yourself. I did the thing. Now I can move on to the next thing. And then the more wins that you get with yourself, the more validation you give yourself that you are capable of achieving more things. And then the harder you make them and then achieve them, you're like, well, fuck, what else can I take on? Like if one day you're like, okay, I achieved making the bed. That's like nothing, but you still achieve making the bed when you typically don't make your bed. Now you do that for 2 weeks and now all of a sudden you clean your house once a week and then you clean it the next week. And you're like, wow, I've been making my bed and I've been cleaning my house every single week. And then you start waking up on time. And then you just start accumulating all these wins, which they may not be grandiose in the scheme of things, but like they're still wins. And like those wins literally validate who you are as a person because you're winning in small ways, but it leads you to other wins. You can't compile wins unless you start with small wins. Maybe you get lucky and you get a big win, but that wasn't because of you. That was literally it's something beginner's luck at something you did. That is not a win. That does not validate you. Like you are not who you say you are. You are who you are when you're doing the thing, right? If I could easily be a piece of shit today. If I wanted to be a piece of shit, I could be a piece of shit. All it takes is for me to go down the road and I don't know, walk down and insult every single person and make them cry that I come across. That would make me a piece of shit in that in that day. But then the next day, I could go give to charity. I could do amazing things, and like I'm not a piece of shit that day. But if you decide to do piece of shit things every day, you're literally compiling your piece of shitness.
Yeah.
So like you're becoming a piece of shit. But if you do good things, then you are being a better and being a good person every day. So you're only who you are based on the things that you're doing. And if you try to compile wins, then you're going to be a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of things keep you grounded and get you through the stress? So you have to have something that you do that's like getting you through and like helping you to manage it. Or is it just that you're becoming numb to this level of stress? I know for me, when I took on my apprentice, she's trying to be on my level and do all the things that I'm doing. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years. You're not going to catch me. Like I've like worked my way up to this level of stress. So you have to like start down here. But is it just that you're starting to like, build up a callus for this level of stress, or are there things that you do to help you through that, like keep you grounded through it?
It literally all derives from the anger and hatred that I had for who I was from the past. And I think that's what made me feel better, is that me doing these things gives me the excuse to say I'm not a piece of shit, even though in my mind it still tells me you are a piece of shit. If I do more things that can validate the fact that I'm not a piece of shit, I can continue to do better things. And to me, that is what comforts me. I don't need anything else, right? Another comfort, big factor is I like making the people that love me, genuinely love me and care about me, I like hearing them say that they're proud of me, right? So I try not to listen and try not to pay too much attention to the validation of others. But for example, with my lady and my mother, my dad, my brother, and very close friends that are basically family, when I do things and they tell me that they're proud, to me, that is fuel. That is good. And I've basically just become callous under stress because of those things.
Yeah.
Like I've learned to just say, bring it on. Bring it on. Like I will defeat this and I will be making myself proud and I will be making others proud. So bring it on. And now it's just gotten to a point where it's like you introduce new stress to me. And it is like, I am so happy. Even yesterday, I was going through a really stressful hour dealing with some airport stuff and renting a car. And I, in the past, would have been so grumpy, so stressed out, so like wanting to rip my hairs off. And I was just so calm. Like I was like, okay, well, this happened. Like I surrendered being emotional in those moments and just started to be like, okay, how are we going to handle this? Because literally being emotional and being angry, it's not going to do you any good.
Right.
It's literally not going to do you any good. So instead of trying to manage your stress and trying to figure out ways to make yourself happier, it's like you need to welcome the stress. You need to welcome the chaos, and you need to callous your mind into doing harder things. Because if you want to overachieve, like I want to overachieve, I want to be one of the greatest at the things that I do. I want to be arguably, I want to, when I die, I want people to be able to say, Crush is arguably one of the greatest tattooers of all time. That's what I want.
Yeah.
If it's the last thing I do, that is one of the things I want to die, because I've committed so much to this career and it's given me so much that I feel like we just have this relationship and I want to make it epic. Epic. So one of the things out of the few before I die, that's something I want to leave behind.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. You're really passionate about fitness also.
Yeah.
So for me, getting invested in fitness has changed my life as well. I think all of these things that we've been talking about are kind of combined, because we've got the routine and, you know, the discipline and everything that goes along with fitness. And I know that you feel the same way. Can you tell us about the impact that getting serious about fitness has had on you?
Being in the gym and getting in shape helped me a lot, primarily with my confidence in myself, my physical confidence in myself, which then led me to be confident in other areas. Because growing up, I was a fat boy. Like, I was just a fat kid. And I just remember, like, being in love with like this girl and in middle school, and like her wanting to be my girlfriend. And I'll never forget this. My buddy was able to convince her behind my back, I did not know this, was able to convince her to date me for like 2 or 3 days, because I was like so into her. And I mean, we were like 11 years old, so I know his intentions were in the right place.
Yeah.
But he was like, hey, listen, like, it's my boy, like I love him, like, can you please just like be with him for a couple days? And she was like, fine, you know what I mean? So like I started dating, back then, and this was like in 6th grade. She was like the girl of my dreams. I mean, and I started dating her. It felt like I was in heaven. I had my first kiss. And then, a couple days later, she breaks up with me. And I was like, like, what? Like, I thought this was going great. What was going on? And it wasn't until like weeks later, because I remember telling my buddy, I was like, bro, I don't know what I was so shook by it. I was like, I don't know what I did. Like, and mind you, I'm 11 years old, so like I had no idea. And he was like, bro, I got to tell you something. He was like, I made a deal with her, and, you know, she agreed to date you for 2 or 3 days just because, I mean, I guess that was her being nice to him for whatever fucking reason. But I was like, so why don't you break up with me? And he was like, do you want me to tell you the truth? And I was like, yeah, like, I need you to tell me the truth. I need to know what happened. And she said, because you're fat.
Oh my God. That's so
And like, you have to understand,
Aw.
the school life is about as primitive as it gets when it comes to dating.
Mhm.
Like, it is like, in school, the only thing that matters is popularity and like superficial things. It's like, okay, who's the alpha? Okay, cool. That's who I'm going to gravitate toward.
Right.
Like, whoever's like the alpha in your bubble, that's who you as a girl, you're going to gravitate to. I was not the alpha in her bubble. Like, I didn't understand that concept when I was that young. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that was like my breaking point. And when I was younger, and I was like, okay, like then I started developing these insecurities about me being fat, and like that kind of lingered for a few more years until I was like, you know what? I'm no longer going to be fat, because I started talking to this girl, and I was like 14, and I like really liked her. Like, I was like, and we had never met. We just met through like a friend, and we would like talk over the phone.
Mhm.
We had house phones back then. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
And I remember I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna meet this girl in like 2 months, because she lived in Miami, and I was gonna go spend the summer with my dad. So I knew I was gonna meet her. Dude, I started doing push-ups every day. I remember getting like a plastic bag and just like wearing it and running outside every single day. And I would eat little to nothing. And I lost like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. And I got like really lean. But anyway, so my point is, I saw that as the answer to my problems back then, because I was like, okay, well, what is it that I want? I want a girlfriend. What is the problem? I'm fat. What is the solution? I lose weight. Like that wasn't actually the problem. I was just a kid and didn't understand math.
Yeah.
Light math. But it helped me at the time, and I just remember getting this euphoric feeling and such a great reward from doing that I just never left it alone. And then eventually it bled into high school. I just wanted to stay in shape. And sure enough, like once I got to sophomore year, I felt like very, in shape, even though I was just like basically anorexic. I was a stick. But I felt good, and I would get compliments from girls, and I'd be dating whatever girl I wanted to date. Like I literally had the fortune of just being able to date whatever girl I wanted to date in high school. And then I was just like, okay, so like this is the answer. And then eventually, once I matured and it stopped being about women, and then it started being about doing it for me because I just like the way that I look. I started seeing my body and I was like, dude, I'm no longer fat. Like, cool. I have a chest, I have abs, I have arms, like I look great. I feel great. Like, it started giving me a boost in my self-esteem, which then led to me having more confidence to be able to speak to other people. Like, people don't realize how you look and feel will also bleed into how you interact with others in life. Like, it's not just like you looking good. It's when you feel good, you perform better in other aspects of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gives you more confidence to do other things. And then it actually switched from that in the most recent years to it literally just being a matter of, I need to do this because of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't enjoyed a single workout in about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Not a single one. I have not been motivated to go work out in months. Like I was literally I could literally show everybody this. I could screenshot it. You could put it on here. I was like, babe, I miss being motivated to go to the gym. I miss enjoying my workouts. I miss looking at myself in the mirror with a crazy pump and loving it and just wanting to do more. I wake up every single day and I'm like, I have to go to the gym. I have to. Even you can pretend and say, oh, you can switch it to I get to go to the gym. That's fucking bullshit.
I hate when people say that. I understand it, but I hate it.
And it's true. You get to go to the gym. You should be grateful. And I'm grateful for those things. But that's not going to help you in the moment. Right? So like, I remember yesterday I went to the gym and I got a pre-workout and the lady at the desk was like, need a little pick me up? And I was like, every day.
Yeah.
For every day. I'll take whatever I can every single day because I do not want to be.
Yeah.
But I still show up and I do it because I have to. That is the person that I am today. I have to show up even though I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm trying to tell and express to people through my videos and the things that I say. Like, you can still do those things. They're just going to be difficult. And like, it's supposed to be difficult. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And then they're like, yeah, but it's hard. So like, what's the point? Well, the point is that you're separating yourself from the average person. The average person doesn't wake up and say, oh man, I don't want to go to the gym, but I have to go to the gym. And then they go and they do it anyway. Even if you have like a shitty workout, like you have to like force yourself to try to have a good workout. You know what I mean? And most people don't do that. So separate yourself from the average person. Why? Because it's going to help you separate yourself from the average person in other aspects of life. Yeah. Like, you cannot be average and expect to be successful. You can't be average and expect to get great results. You're only going to get average results. You're not going to get great results. And that's the difference. And that's why, like, dude, I try to be as genuine as possible. And I feel like people don't fucking believe me when I go on here and I'm like, bro, I have fucking problems. Yeah. Like, I deal with fucking anxiety. I deal with depression. I deal with the fucking mental battles, and I still do it. I am not greater than you. I just choose to be stronger than you. So why can't you? It's literally just a choice. It's literally a fucking choice that you have to make in your mind when you're like, sleep in or wake up. It's a fucking choice.
The choice we make every day.
And people are like, oh, but it's so hard. No, the fuck it isn't. It's literally just a choice. So now when I feel myself like getting, like, oh my God, I'm gonna sleep in today, I just get up. I get on my feet. I get on my feet and I look into the sun, get some sunlight. I'm not like touching my phone. I splash some water on my face. And then before you know it, that's it. You're woken up. Like now go do a couple other things, but just get up. Like everybody can fucking do this. It's just everybody decides to take the easier path, which is like, I'm going to sleep in.
Yeah. That was literally me this morning. I woke up, I looked at my alarm clock. I was like, I could go back to sleep. I'm like, and then I get mad. I get mad at myself when I do that. Like, if my first thought is go back to sleep, I'm like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
you fucking lazy bitch, get up. And then, like, kind of have to yell at myself. And, one of my biggest struggles is my husband, who never wants me to go to the gym. He's always trying to like keep me in bed in the morning. And I'm like, I have to go. Like, so not only is the voice in my head telling me to stay in bed, but my husband's also staying. And so I choose to flip it to where I get mad, and then that forces me out of bed. But yeah, it's a choice every fucking day. I go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. So it's
You
a
know what?
hard choice for me.
I'm actually a little envious that you have somebody telling you don't do it.
Yeah, it's
Because
almost fuels me to do it, because
exactly.
I'm like that person that's like, tell me what not to do, and I'm going to do exactly
Well,
what.
it's not even like and I don't even mean it like in a sense of like a rebellious way. I mean it in the sense of like how strong really are you when you have someone else, especially your spouse, telling you, hey, you don't have to do this thing. After your mind, who is like the strongest person, then you have another person telling you, hey, you don't need to do this.
Yeah, it's
Just relax, take it easy. And you're like, fuck no, go Super Saiyan and go to the fucking jam, do what you got to do. Like, that requires a lot of fucking strength, dude. So, yeah, that's, if anything, like it's almost like you have a weighted vest on.
yeah.
You have multiple weighted vests. Like I have the weighted vest on my
260
mind.
pound weight.
Yeah, exactly. Like if my weighted vest is like 100, yours is not 200 because you have yours and your husband
Yeah,
saying, "Hey, Dodo, do the thing." Like,
yeah,
whoo, holy
yeah.
shit.
It's tough. So, what is your routine like? Like, do you have a routine that you stick to? Because if you're traveling as much as you do, I know for me, I struggle when I have to travel for a convention or guest spot or something to try and like fit my like priorities into my schedule, which is eating, my meal plan and working out and going for my walks or whatever it might be. I try to prioritize that, and it is so tough, especially on travel days. Like, how do you deal with that? And like, if you have a routine, I'm assuming that you do.
So I did have a routine
Okay.
until I started traveling again.
Mm,
And I'm sure there is a way for everyone to find a routine that matches their schedule and their travels and stuff like that. But my life is so chaotic and it is so random that I've tried implementing routine and it just doesn't stick
yeah.
because of how much random commotion goes on. And, like, for example, I travel a lot. Do you know how random things can happen when you travel? And I'm not saying that that's an excuse. All I'm saying is if you learn to be able to continue to do the things that you say you're going to do without a routine, just imagine how easy it is once you're able to implement a routine. So, in this next year coming up, I'm not going to be traveling as much and everything will be organized because I'll have way less shows. I won't be randomly accepting offers to other shows and invites to this and invites to that. It will be 8 or 10 shows. I will know exactly what 8 or 10 they will be. They will be planned, paid, everything. And even then, things always come up. You never really know. However, it will be a lot easier to dial in on a routine once I'm set exactly where I know I'm going to be, once I know what my schedule's going to be like. And again, I'm painting this perfect picture, and I still guarantee you there's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be chaos
Yeah,
behind it,
absolutely.
but it will be a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't have a routine. And I'm also right now, I'm not as disciplined as I was when I was actively doing 75 hard. But I will say, for someone who has no routine and isn't actively disciplined in doing all of the things that they must do in the times that they're supposed to do it because you lack routine, I'm still disciplined enough to know how to navigate my rules and my goals and my achievements. I If I explain to you how my life works, most people would be like, I could never live your life.
Mhm.
Like, you are so chaotic. How do you not plan for this? How do you not do this? How do you just randomly decide to go here and go there? Well, because I can perform well under pressure. This goes back into literally me telling you, you need to welcome stress. You need to welcome pressure. And when you welcome that, you will learn how to navigate through life with it so that it doesn't affect you and break you down, because it used to do it to me. First sign of stress or pressure, I'd be like, oh my God, this is going to affect this. And then this is because of this, I won't be able to do that. And now all of a sudden you're not performing because you're overwhelmed and you're anxious and you're angry and you're upset and you're blaming everybody else. When you take accountability and you blame yourself, or you just decide to say everything that happens is my fault or it is my responsibility, then you start to realize that you take control of your life how you want to take control of your life. And you stop getting upset at the people and the situations around it. So when you do that, you almost formulate these rules for yourself, right? So like, the reason I can do well without a routine is because I have rules for myself.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm on these trips, when I'm going here, when I'm going there. And within those rules, there are sub rules, right? So for example, I will not let myself go above 15% body fat. That is just my life rule. I will not, unless I'm bulking. If I'm bulking, the highest I will go is possibly 20. Possibly 20.
Okay.
Right? But even then, I don't want to, right? But those are my rules. So now, if let's say after this podcast, you were like, "Hey, Crush, let's go to a buffet," I would say the yes or no to that would literally depend how good I've been this last week.
Right.
How good have I been this last week? Okay, I've been good. Cool, I can do that. Oh, I haven't. I had pizza last week or blah 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 because somebody else invited me. Sorry, Missy, I can't go to the buffet, but we can go eat a steak.
Yeah.
Right? So those are my rules, and that's how I live my life, because my life is so random that I've had to learn how to adjust to every situation.
Yeah. That's what
Right?
I was gonna say was like, so it's just like it's experience. So the more times you put yourself in these awkward situations where things are not going according to plan, the more times you figure out the solution and figure out a way around it, figure out how to make things work. And so you are able to be more comfortable in like pivoting and changing the plan, or, if there's no plan, just being able to like work your way around everything. And that's kind of what I had to learn, especially last year, because I traveled a lot last year, and um, conventions, I go to bed at 10. Like, conventions go till 11.
Yeah.
So I'm fucked. Like,
Yeah.
I know that convention weekend comes up. I'm gonna be going to sleep at midnight, and I'm still getting up at 3:40 to go to the gym because I'm not gonna fuck up my routine. So I'm just gonna be tattooing, working all day at the convention on no sleep, because that's a non-negotiable for me. If I don't go to the gym, I'm having a bad day. Whether I want to go to the gym or not, I know if I don't go, it's a bad day. So, um, so yeah, just from the experience of being in these situations, like, you kind of, log it. Every situation, you kind of like make this mental note, like, okay, well, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm doing that. So, I think that for people who get easily frustrated and fall off their routines when when things don't go according to plan, it's just they haven't been exposed to enough variables yet, you
Yeah.
know?
Agreed. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you just did the seminar in Chicago at the Visionary Tattoo Conference. How did that go? It looked awesome.
It went super good.
Yeah.
Like, it went very, very well. It went better than I could have hoped for, because it was my first time going into something like that. I've never spoken in public to multiple people. At perhaps, like maybe 8 or 10 people around, like when I've done seminars before, as far as like me tattooing and speaking to them.
Mm.
I'd never stood on a stage in my life.
You have nothing in front of you to like hide behind. Yeah.
And I knew that I wasn't going to be nervous, because people were asking me, they were like, Crush, are you nervous? Are you, like, what's going on? How do you think it's going to go? And I'm like, no, I'm not nervous. I think the only thing I was nervous about was me not having enough planning to give people the value that I wanted to give them. That was the only thing that I was nervous about, is people walking out of there and feeling like they didn't get enough value.
Right.
So because of that fear, and because of that insecurity of like, well, if they don't learn what you hope to teach them, because in my mind, I have this, oh, dude, I can provide so much value for you. If you're a newer artist, or if you're, an artist that wants to learn something that will help them progress, like maybe you're an artist that you're at like 60 and you want to go to 80, like I have enough value for that realm of artists. So like, I may not have enough value for artists that are on 80 to go to 100, because I'm not even at 100.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm somewhere around like 80 or 90, close to 90, right? But I feel like I can provide value for artists that are like from 0 to, like 50, and then from 50 to 80. And that's a massive range of artists. Like I may not have a lot to give everybody that's like in the higher, closer numbers to me, right? But I do have like so much massive amounts of like valuable information for those lower at the bottom that just don't have the experience yet, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the reason why I was nervous, because I know that I have value to provide to those people, right? So I guess my worry was, am I going to be able to communicate this in a way where they will understand it? Because I know I have the value. I know. So my worry was like, will my speech be good enough? Will I be able to communicate to them and get them to understand? Right? So I was like, I listed all of my worries. I listed how it could be an issue and how it could affect me. And then I listed, how can we avoid this? What are the solutions? So I started listing them all in my head, because I don't write anything down. I keep it all in my head and then I lose it, unfortunately. But at the time being, I'm very good about like listing the things that I got to do. And then momentarily, I'm like, okay, this is what I got to do. And then after that, unfortunately, I forget about it. And yeah. So I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to present it. And I presented it in that way. And it worked out perfect. I got such amazing feedback from the attendees.
Good. That's awesome.
And I got such great feedback from the people that organized and put it together. Like they literally thanked me. They applauded me on how good my communication skills were. And they were like, dude, you fucking aced it. Like everybody absolutely gave me props for my presentation.
Good. That's awesome. The clips that I saw that you posted online just looked really good. I was bummed that I wasn't going to go, because I originally was supposed to do that convention, and I forget why we changed plans, but we bailed on it. So yeah, I'd love to take it sometime. But you have another one coming up, right?
Yes.
In Utah.
Yeah, this will be. I mean, by the time we drop this, we'll probably already have the promo done. We already kind of did it. Me and Winnie, by the way, me and Winnie have a podcast. We're probably going to end up doing a podcast at some point. Me and Winnie have a seminar that we are going to teach. We actually have two.
Okay.
I actually have two. There's going to be one in Utah that we're going to host June 22nd, I believe. And that will be taking place at Olympus Tattoo.
Okay.
In Utah, Salt Lake City.
And what is that seminar on?
That seminar, he's just going to be going over his process, me going over my process. And then we're going to do like Q&As. I think we're also going to talk about, mindset in the industry, why it's important. We're going to talk about social media. We're going to talk about like, I know he's going to do a portion of marketing, because he's like fucking content king and marketing king when it comes to this. Have you seen his videos?
I'm not sure. You guys have videos together?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
videos together.
yeah, yeah.
If you
That's
haven't, if you don't follow him or if you haven't seen his stuff, go check it out. Because I've learned so much from him.
What is his social?
It's at Winnie the Drew.
Winnie the Drew. Okay.
Yeah, Winnie the Drew. Drew would be spelled Jroo.
Okay.
So he's actually the reason why I started to just dive into releasing content, making content and dropping content and just diving into it. Because I went and I did a guest spot for that 4-way collaboration back piece.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the whole time I was there, it was just like seeing him make content. And I was like, this dude literally will just be like, hey, Anna, as his apprentice, hey, Anna, grab the phone, record me saying this and doing that. And, you know, like he'll just be tattooing and then he'll be like, hey guys, you know what I mean? And and then he'll keep her trying. Like maybe he doesn't get it on the first time, but he'll just continue, like restart. And I'm just like, I watched him do it and I was like, fuck yeah, like cool.
Yeah.
Like, because it's so easy to see somebody post something and you're like, oh my God, this is like perfect. It probably didn't even take him a single try, or like he just does it so effortlessly. But then seeing it in person and seeing how much he enjoys doing it and his ecosystem in the studio and how everybody's just having so much fun in there, it inspired me. I was like, okay, I'm going to start making content and just dropping it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to talk about, or what I'm going to do, but I'm just going to do it. So he definitely helped inspire me into making more content as a tattooer, you know?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, just diving headfirst into content creation, but it's it's hard, and I think that I've been telling myself this lie that I can't do it because I'm in my hand prisons all day and I can't be like taking videos and tattooing at the same time, but it's not true.
Yeah.
There's so many ways around it, and it's just working it into like what you're already doing and just getting that, video and stuff while you're doing it. But I can tell on your feed, like you can see like the progression of your videos are just getting like more and more like it looks like you hire a professional to follow you around. That's literally what your like your reels and stuff look like. I almost wanted to ask you like who is doing like who do you have? Do you just have like a full-time like cameraman with you or what?
I wish I did.
It looks like you do.
Make it so much easier to get content, because there's so many random times of the day where certain things will happen and I'm like, oh my God, this would have been so good for content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, because I only like to get genuineness in my videos. I refuse to follow a script.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time I started doing it, I would actually go on ChatGPT and I would write like a list of the things that I wanted to touch, and then it would give me a summary on how I should post it. And I'm not saying it's not a useful tool. Sometimes I still will go on there, even with my notes, and I'll put my notes and I'm like, hey, give me a rundown of what you think on this from a philosophical standpoint or from a masculine standpoint. And then it kind of like gives me an idea of like where my head is at. And then it helps me kind of organize my thoughts a little better.
Yeah, and then you take what it gives you and you tweak it to,
No, I don't even tweak it.
You
I
don't tweak
refuse
it.
to.
Oh.
I fucking refuse to. I used to do that. And then I'm like, this is not me.
Yeah.
So like, I refuse to give somebody anything from ChatGPT and tweak it. No, I will literally read it. I'll take whatever parts I like and then I will retweak it in my head, but I will not take this from ChatGPT. And I have done it before just from like the tweaking, and technically it's still me, but it's not 100% me.
Yeah.
And I want to represent myself to other people. I want people to know that the content that you see here is not some guy that's like, oh, this is who I am on camera. No, you meet me in person, I'm probably a lot more fucking raw and cooler in person than what you see in my fucking videos.
Yeah.
Like, I just like to keep it real. And obviously there's certain things that kind of refuse to go into on the internet, right? So like, you meet me, you're going to get an even better version of
right. The full,
right?
the full version.
Right. So yeah, I basically, to answer your question, I basically, depending where I'm going, I will reach out to either content creators or videographers that I've either worked with in the past or I know have a good reputation and I can trust and I've seen their work and I like it. And then I'll be like, hey, I'm going to be here around this time. Will you have time to shoot with me? If yes, okay, cool. I'm going to do content at the gym talking about this and this and that. And we kind of basically go over everything. And I basically just make content at the gym, but it's not gym related,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I know that you're not a planner, but I am getting ready to go to Florida for like a week and a half. And now that I have this social media person, I'm like, okay, what content can I get while I'm there? Because I'm doing convention, doing a guest spot. So we just sat down yesterday and just like came up with this whole plan of like, we're going to make these reels and like these TikToks and stuff. And so I need you to get these kind of clips. So I have like I have a whole list of clips. This is my first time like attempting this, so we'll see how it goes. But it's a little overwhelming, but I think I think my main objective is just going to be film what I'm already doing and not try so hard. I don't know. It's tough out there.
Yeah.
But um we are running out of time, so I do have a couple more questions that I just want to get out here. So we talked about mindset a lot, and I love that. So I'm just gonna circle it back to that. What do you think are some common mindset mistakes that people are making when they're starting out in their careers, whether tattooing or otherwise? What do you wish that you could have changed about your mindset when you started out?
Expectations. I think everyone has too positive of expectations when they start. Or if they're negative expectations, they're way too negative. So if you shift the meaning between positive and negative expectations and everything is just what it is. For example, a shark isn't evil or bad for being a shark. If he bites you, that's what sharks do. A shark is not bad, nor is he good, right? He's just doing what sharks do. That is his job. It's his instinct. But he's not bad for being a shark. He's also not good for being a shark. He's just a shark, right? So what I mean by that, I think people go into things expecting that either something really good is going to happen or something really bad is going to happen. They never go somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. And reality is it probably will be somewhere in the middle.
Someone yeah. Or you know what? Sometimes it will be super negative and sometimes it will be super positive. You never really know. But the thing is, you can't set your expectations. You can have standards, right? Mm-hmm. But to have expectations, most of the time will often lead you to bad mindset because now you're expecting something really bad to happen that you have no control over. Like if you start tattooing today, do you have control over how many people are going to support you? How many applauses you're going to get? Or do you also have control of if let's take it to the positive side. Do you have control over how overhyped you're going to be? Like, how is that going to make you feel if you are overhyped? Like, if people are just like, oh my God, this person's so great. And like, it's like, well, I don't think I'm that great. And like, you're just being genuine with yourself. You're like, I just started. Like, how much of an ego will that give you if you're subjected to having an ego? Like, is it good that you're being overhyped? What will that do to your career long term? Maybe you'll develop self-righteous attitude and maybe you'll be self-absorbed and you develop this ego where you think things can just be handed to you. And then on the negative, maybe you just get to a feeling where you don't feel like you deserve enough because nobody ever applauded you. Nobody ever, so it's like you need to just go into things and having the standard that you want to be wherever it is that you want to be, whether it's going to be in the middle or right before the top or at the top or the absolute highest echelon that you could possibly be in that level, right? It's good to know where you want to be so that you can aim for that. But the expectations that you have on how long it is that you're going to get there, how you're going to do it, who's going to be happy about it, who's going to support you, I think those are terrible things. So I think you should just start the thing and not worry about validation of others and have zero expectations.
Yeah. And that's hard. That's easier said than done to not have any expectations. So not taking that lightly, but I agree. And because there's always some kind of emotion attached to those expectations. And if it's not going the way you want, that's where you get down on yourself, and it holds you back. Whether it's, going better than expected or worse than expected, it's going to hold you back. If young artists could focus on only one area of their career or their business, whatever, what would you say is the one place that they should focus all of their efforts?
Discipline. And I say discipline because it's like, well, that's broad. Well, the question is kind of broad. Because if you have to tell me, how do you become a better person in life? What do you focus on? That would be my answer, is discipline.
Yeah.
Because if you have the discipline to narrow everything down to being a better person at all the things that you do, discipline is probably, in my opinion, going to be the closest thing that will help you get there. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, what is the answer? Money, love, hatred. What is the answer? It's discipline. Because discipline, whether you want to love people or hate people or make more money or look better or be a better artist, the only thing that will inevitably help you get there is having the discipline to focus on that goal. It doesn't matter how or when you want to get this goal done. If there is no discipline, you will not be better than the average. That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Awesome answer. This has been so awesome, dude. Like, I was so excited for this. I knew it was going to be a fucking killer episode. So thank you so much for coming out. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. So my socials, well, right now, really, it's just my Instagram, which is Crush Captain Tattoo. And my website, hopefully by the time this drops, it'll be fully ready, good to go. It's crushcaptaintattoos.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And make sure you guys check out his upcoming seminars in Utah. And where was the other one? Sorry.
So we're going to have one in Utah, and then we're also going to do one in Hawaii. I can't give too much about that, but it's going to be a week long, and it's going to be more than just seminar. Like, we're going to be staying with the students there, and we're going to be like working out, going to the beach, and
fucking sign me up.
Dude, yeah.
I'm so down.
Reach out to us. Reach out to.
Oh, yeah.
Sick.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, Crush. I appreciate you.
Of course.